is especially true when it comes to the climate crisis, which is why we will work together and continue to work together to address these issues, to tackle these challenges, and to work together as we continue to work operating from the new norms, rules, and agreements that we will convene to work together on to galvanize global action. With that, I thank you all. This is a matter of urgent priority for all of us, and I know we will work on this together.
What really kills me is it looks like she's reading that off of a piece of paper. Like,
she said, I write my own speeches. She's real proud of it.
Wrote together 17 times in 30 seconds.
She's a peach.
She is definitely something. Speaking of peaches, do we talk about AOC's juicy booty?
I think that you showed me the video after our stream on Friday, but I don't think we did it on the show.
Yeah, she was getting harassed by conservative comedian Alex Stein, who I actually have a intro clip that was made based off of him terrorizing his city council, which he does.
The rapper guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Rapper,
yeah.
Yeah, he does a lot of funny stuff.
It's a pretty loose term these days. I mean,
fair.
You probably don't want to be associated with rappers after what happened in Chicago.
What happened in Chicago?
It exists.
Remember the wannabe rapper that shot up the parade on the 4th of July?
Oh.
Has anything else come out about that? Like,
that's the lesser talked about shooting in recent times.
Well, because everything about that kid ended up being that he's some like woke nutso, and so he got brushed under the rug real quick. Like at first,
not this one. Let's try me at a mall now.
Yeah, at first they were real quick to jump on it. Oh, look, he's some Trump Nazi, and then it turned out that all of the stuff that was him like wearing MAGA stuff and had like a Trump flag and all that. It was him actually like trolling and making fun of MAGA people, and he's actually like this completely woke psychopath. So.
Oh, is this the one on the 4th?
Yes.
There have been, it's just been a lot of stuff thrown at us lately.
Well, there was the one yesterday up around Indy, the mall shooting that got clipped short by a guy concealed
I was assuming it was you.
No, not me. I had to work yesterday.
Allegedly,
yeah. But no, he used a different gun than I would have been carrying. That was. Why she laughed? I think they confirmed that it was a 9mm, and my 9mm is a Ruger carbine. Not exactly something that you can conceal carry. I mean, I guess I could stick it like under my shirt, but that still is not great. Like have a strap and then like put it over my shoulder and then put the shirt on over the top of it. That's not real practical.
That's what trench coats were made for, man.
You're gonna have a Plaxico Burris situation on our hands where you end up shooting yourself, and at least you wouldn't spend 3 years in jail like Plaxico Burris did because he was in New York. Do you remember this?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Dag is not a sports ball guy, so he doesn't. Just Dag, whatever you do when it comes to the fantasy draft, do not draft Plaxico Burris. He is still in jail for shooting himself.
I will try to remember that. We New York's one of those really scary places because it's like I have a friend of a friend who went to did time there for carrying a pocket knife in his pocket, like I carry everywhere with me. It's just so illegal there. And I mean technically it's illegal here too to carry, but nobody gives a fuck. It's not ever enforced. But yeah, man, in New York they will fucking lock you the fuck up.
What, you're not allowed to carry a pocket knife in Florida?
No, there's some like it's length of blade and full and blah blah blah, like so certain sizes or something. And I think even in a lot of cases, maybe even a lot of states, I don't think it's just Florida, like carrying like fixed blade knives isn't necessarily legal. But a lot of people do. Tons of people do. I mean, I had one time I was going into like a club and security took my knife off of me. They're like, "We'll give it back to you. You just got to check it with us," And there's a cop standing there. He didn't give a fuck. But yeah, I even asked my lawyer. I'm like, "Is this legal to carry?" She's like, "No." But I mean, like, it's Florida, dude. Nobody's gonna fuck with you. But I mean, they could, I guess, if they wanted to. But yeah, I mean, it's not like an issue. I mean, everybody carries a fucking knife. So
I'd say that's kind of messed up. I usually keep one in each pocket.
yeah, I mean, I usually have at least one, maybe two. When I used to tint cars, for a living, I always had my tint razor knife hanging inside my shirt, and that thing was fucking surgical, dude. But it didn't look like a knife, But I always had that one, my razor knife, and then a pocket knife on me, and then, whatever else I might need to carry. But it's silly.
Did a episode of Blue Star Union with those guys. They're from Jersey. It's been, I don't know, year and a half ago now, and we were talking about like the insanity of the gun laws in New Jersey, and like you basically cannot get a concealed carry permit, period, and it's virtually impossible to get a permit to even buy a gun. Like you have to go through so much bullshit. And so we were talking about that, and I was like because it's always right there. I was like, I carried this the whole time I lived there. And they're like, "Oh, dude, if you had ever gotten caught, you'd still be in jail." I was like, maybe I would, and maybe I wouldn't.
Aren't brass knuckles another one of those things that are kind of like universally like not okay? Like, aren't they like illegal in a lot of places or most places or something?
I would assume so.
It's funny because it's like they're pretty brutal, Like, I guess I get it, but it is just funny that it's like the punching tool is illegal, but I can carry a gun. Like it does seem like if anything was going to be the legal one, it'd be the brass knuckles, not the gun. But I'm not complaining. It's just funny. But I mean, I get it because you could really, really destroy someone's face forever with a set of those.
I wonder what regulations are for a spear. Like I could just get like a holster or something.
We got an early reference to the spear today.
I haven't even pulled it out. I'm just looking at it longingly.
We can see it in your eyes and the reflection in your glasses. You can see your shrine for it. It's swords. It's legal to carry swords in a lot of places, right? So I can't imagine a spear. It might depend on how you're handling the thing. I mean, technically, what defines a spear? I mean, I have gardening tools that might technically be a spear. It's a stick. It's got a pointy metal thing on the end. I don't really know what defines it as a spear.
This isn't just a really skinny shovel.
Yeah.
Totally cool.
Gotta go dig a truck out of mud.
This is my hoe.
Carry him like this. What's up, bitches?
Let's see. Well, since we started with Kamala talking about how we're going to solve the climate crisis.
That was a nice natural segue from hoe to Kamala. That was good.
I was just waiting for the right opportunity. Sometimes y'all don't give me the opportunity, and I just have to make some shit up. But today, you did a good job of throwing it to the hose.
Now we've ruined it by talking about it so much.
I know. So we're gonna solve the climate crisis together. But first of all, I think we got to figure out how we're gonna keep all of the British people alive in horrible. What is it? 75-degree weather, I think is.
Isn't hoeing the forests making the climate crisis worse? Sorry, I'm belaboring the point now.
We're supposed to be hoeing the forests.
We're supposed to be
soapbox for years now.
So apparently, this is according to some British study.
Whew.
I don't think it's actually a study. I think it's just according to some British bullshit propaganda. Your blood thickens and then clots. What extreme heat can do to your body. Now, the really funny thing is what they classify as extreme heat is between 20 and 30 degrees Celsius.
Somebody Euromath that for me.
Yeah, if you're not up to the
It's like
conversion.
70 to 80 degrees.
Yes.
70 to 90, something like that.
Yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood. It is currently 71 degrees here, which is, I just had it pulled up and then I turned it off. Damn it, I'm an idiot. There we go. So it's currently 71 here, which is 22 degrees Celsius. So it's a wonder my blood hasn't thickened and clotted and keeled
you
over.
haven't taken the shot, so you should be good.
Shit, I got a high of 94 today, guys.
Oh,
I don't know how I'm gonna make it.
You're gonna die for sure. We'll be holding Dag's funeral on Wednesday. I mean, it makes sense. We already had Clyde's funeral. We had my funeral. So we got to have Dag's funeral. Mark lives far enough, I guess.
Hey,
Not
high
Mark,
of 88 here in the frozen tundra of Michigan. So
Oh, wow. Getting up
we're
there.
basically on fire up here.
You know, I was toying with the idea that the new COVID strain was I have this whole crazy thing of viruses or programming updates for us, and there's like a reason we get them, right? But I was sort of trying to convince myself that the new COVID strain was going to help acclimate us to climate change because we had the AC set at 80 for the last 4 days at my house, and we were like freezing. So I was like,
Wow.
all right, maybe we're gonna come out of this, and like 80 is just gonna be the new like baseline. I'm like, I could deal with that, that'd be cool, But we bumped the AC back down yesterday. It's time. It's time to go back. But anyhow, I said maybe maybe the new COVID will help everybody out with this. So go out there and get it. Got to catch them all.
What do you typically keep it at?
So in the summertime, like during the day, if I'm just here hanging out working, 78, maybe 77. But then like at night, we sleep with it at like 74. So somewhere in that range. Yeah. Typically. Well, it's the kind of thing like, you really start battling an electric bill or just the feasible possibility of your air conditioning system. Because usually asking anything more than 20 degrees, of your air conditioning system is plenty. So when it's 96 outside, I kind of feel bad pushing it below 75.
Yeah, the AC at my old house, I felt bad the work that I put it through, and then I'd get that bill, and I'd be like, oh, well, maybe I should go easier on it for many different reasons.
Yeah, even like our electric bill isn't bad, but yeah, I don't want that fucker to blow up. I don't want that $5,000 AC bill when it blows up. So yeah.
Here we are talking about the weather and the AC, the thermostat.
Didn't take that long.
Yeah, we got right after it.
So maybe there's another segue here.
Well, was there anything else to this article, or just this British guy's a pussy?
The British are a bunch of pussies, and
okay.
I'm trying to figure out. So it says the problems really begin when your core temperature begins to reach 40 degrees Celsius. One of the signs is that you see blood vessels start to expand, which means blood pressure starts to drop and less blood is delivered to primary organs. So as your body heats up, bad things happen. Imagine that. And then your brain starts to shut down.
Okay, but is this like an article that's like excusing the rise in blood clots?
No, it's explaining
Shifting the blame.
Right. It's all because of prolonged heat waves and tropical nights and all of this like extreme heat that they're having in
England,
in Great Britain. Yeah.
Okay.
Like doesn't the majority of the world live near the equator or something?
It was like when I was working in Illinois for a while, it was gonna be like a high of 92 or something that day, and I was out walking around the facility, and the manager came driving up in his truck, like AC running full blast, and he was like, "Now take it easy, be careful out here." I was like, "Dude, I just lived in the Mississippi Delta for 4 years. This is like March. Like this is fine. Like I'll be okay."
We just got to learn how to deal with it. I mean, heat obviously can be dangerous, but what they're talking about isn't even really fucking heat, in my opinion. So whatever. But like, yeah, man. I mean, it's like anything. It's learn how to deal with it. Don't be an idiot. But like, I'm not really worried about getting blood clots. I didn't even cross my mind this was a side effect, deception thing.
It's because all of us Southerners.
That's all I think about.
It's because all those Southerners aren't giant pussies. We can actually, deal with the heat.
I'm just so used to just making fun of people for being pussies for not being able to deal with the heat. That's just where I jump to.
Drink a 12-pack of light beer and you're good to go. You're properly hydrated.
That is a good tip. Definitely, that is a time to go with the light beer. I'm usually a bush heavy man, but if the sun's still up and I'm outside, give me them lights. Otherwise, I will be ill.
Johnny on Peddling Fiction was making fun of me the other day because I was drinking a Mike's Hard Lemonade. I was like, dude, it's 95 degrees, and I've been working on like laying a floor over in the other house. Like, it's too hot for bourbon. Yes, normally I'll
That
just
does
drink.
sound kind of gay, though, Justin.
I mean, it's got good flavor. I can chug 4 straight Mike's Hard Lemonades and not even have a buds. So, it's.
I say this as someone, if I drank, I probably
And his date's drunk at that
white
point,
clawing
so
it up.
it's cheap. I'm tequila during the day. If the sun's still up, brown liquor, no way. But like a good margarita, I can do that. And I can drink a margarita like with lunch and go back to work, be fine. Like old fashioned style. Like they used to do back in the 50s when men were men. I can do that and not even be like out of sorts. But yeah, dark liquor, nah. I gotta be done for the day.
But Johnny was making fun of me for drinking a Mike's Hard Lemonade. He's like, "Have you ever tried those hard seltzers?" I'm like, "Really? Like a White Claw?" I was like, "You're making fun of me for a Mike's Hard Lemonade, and you're a White Claw guy?" I was like, "Get the fuck out of here! What's wrong with you?"
That's funny. I've never had a seltzer.
I've had. I think there's an Aldi brand that is pretty good.
I'm just gonna ask Mark, but that's pointless.
Yeah,
No, go ahead. Ask away. I might have an answer for you.
I'm sure you have an answer. I'm sure I know what it is. I was just gonna say, if Mark drank, I'm sure it'd be seltzers. So
Yeah, it'd be White Claw all day.
yeah. Some practicality, and then look at him.
I stayed in an Airbnb not too long ago, and that fridge was just like stacked with seltzers and just different flavored beers and everything. And so I sent a picture to my cousin. I was like, "Do you want them?" And I brought them home to him.
The seltzers are popular, man. I gotta say that they sure are. If I go to an event or drinking thing, party or something these days with other adults my age, it's mostly seltzer. It's strange.
Well, speaking of some gay seltzers,
This isn't going to be as smooth. Oh, okay.
it was a smooth transition, wasn't it? Speaking of transition,
This whole story is strange, man.
everything about this story is fucked up. Like from the headline all the way to the end.
When I first saw this headline, I thought Demi Moore and not Demi Minor.
Well,
Demi Moore is not a trans woman.
Yet.
I don't think it goes that direction. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
There will be at some point. Anyways, continue with the reading.
Transgender woman who impregnated 2 inmates removed from New Jersey's female prison. Oh, but it gets better. The transgender inmate who impregnated 2 women while incarcerated at Edna Mahan Correctional Facility for Women has been moved to a new facility, the Garden State Youth Correctional Facility.
Because we just can't make it crazier.
They could not comment on the DOC's specific housing action in minors' cases because of policies around privacy, but they did say that she is currently the only woman prisoner on the site.
Yeah, it's something like because I was trying to figure out what that means, like youth facility, and they said, I think at some point they say they might even mention young adult, but they don't give an age range. I don't know if that's this. They almost allude to it's not quite the same thing as a juvenile facility, but I really don't know. But I am kind of curious, the ages of who they're housing, there.
I think on those cases it's 16 to 25. There are 16, 17-year-olds who are tried as adults for either repeat offenses or because they did something heinous. I think that's the general range for one of those type of a facility.
Okay. Because this isn't even like, oh, like, those people are, freaks or anything. This is just like okay, should a 27-year-old be housed with 14-year-olds in any, situation? Like that's kind of not, cool, I guess. But I guess if there are 16-year-olds who have like murdered people, then fucking I don't care. Whatever. Yeah, so just to like go and like set the tone for like this one, like, and this is something I've said like before when we talk about like the transgender in sports and this, that, and the other. It's like there's a few things where the whole like, because typically I'm like, what the fuck ever, do what the fuck you want, I don't give a shit. But there's some like things where you get to a point where it's like, okay, like now your choice pronouns or what the fuck ever don't matter. Like there's real fucking issues here. And when it comes to like, yeah, like prison housing and sports teams and shit like that, like you can't really go with the whole like, do what the fuck you want kind of thing. Excuse me. Because of shit like this, like there's obviously drastic realities here. And unfortunately, the transgender person in question here was incarcerated for like manslaughter and something that like might actually be a fucking crime. I just really wish they were incarcerated for pot so I could just be like, just let them the fuck out of prison and who cares, and this whole thing wouldn't even have to matter. But alas, that's not the case. So here we are.
And apparently this person has a website that claims that the officers forcibly removed her and beat her during the transfer.
What?
Which is the bulk of this article is about like prisoner abuse and not like the interesting part of this.
Let's see. The news of the transfer comes nearly 3 months after New Jersey Advanced Media reported that the inmate had impregnated 2 women during consensual sexual relationships. Well, yeah, I mean, if you put a penis-having individual in a long-term prison environment with a bunch of people who aren't getting that, they might take advantage of that opportunity.
Like, well, like, I don't know. You get to, I understand that women could have penises or what the fuck ever. But, like, I don't know. If you're going to go to a woman's prison on the basis that you're trans, then you're not allowed to use that penis. Or you blow
You're not allowed to use that penis.
You start using the penis. You got to go to male's prison. I don't know what to say, dude. Like,
put that away, Demi.
Yeah. I mean, no, like, if you want as some people might say, it's like a luxury to go to a female prison from family and friends of mine who have been correctional officers. They say women's prisons are way more horrific. The women are way more terrifying than the men. But like, so whatever. But like, if that's your thing, if you're trying to, one flew over the cuckoo's nest, this thing into like an easier sentence, then sorry, dude, you got to put the penis away for a while.
Of course, the ACLU has a statement on this guy.
Well, so it's New Jersey's transgender prisoner policy was established following a settlement agreement with the ACLU in New Jersey in June of 2021. The policy stipulated that the Department of Corrections house transgender prisoners according to their gender identity. The settlement agreement mandated that the policy remain in place for at least a year. That ended last month. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be used as, hey, look, we tried it. Clearly, it's not a good idea. We're not going to do that anymore.
Hopefully. This was in New Jersey, right? What? This stuff must come up all the fucking time in California, right? Have we heard much from that? Like,
well, I don't think they send transgenders to prison for anything in California.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's probably how they get around it.
Do they send anybody to prison for? I mean, other than for pot? Like, I'm pretty sure that's it. Like, as long as and maybe they don't even do that now that Kamala isn't. Whatever.
There's still a few people serving life sentences for pot, and I think a couple of them are still in California. Which is
I'm sure they were convicted by Kamala.
Yeah.
Brittany Griner was convicted by Kamala.
Do we want to talk about Brittany Griner?
We've talked about him.
We were watching a Tosh.0 from like 2014 yesterday, and he mentioned Brittany Griner.
Yeah, that was like, those are her peak years at Baylor, I think.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, what are the odds? I would have never gotten a reference to her.
Somebody posted a picture of Brittany Griner like without a shirt on. And they're like, look, this is a dude. There are no like scar marks from where the boobs were removed or anything. Like that's straight up flat chested. Like I've got more. Granted, I'm getting a little bit dad bodish, but I got more tits than that chick.
Yeah, I'd rather look at a picture of you shirtless than Brittany Griner.
I mean, I am.
I thought you were about to take it off right now.
No. Here, as soon as we get done, we're working on the house, so it'll be coming off soon enough.
No, you're not going to go run up and down a basketball court for an hour and a half?
So anybody who wants to see me with my shirt off, you have to go subscribe to the Morning After Patreon, and I will take my shirt off for you there. You got to pay for that.
First, you got to figure out how to find
it. Thing, guys?
She's never home when we're doing this, and she's in there just like, I don't know if y'all can hear her or not, but she said, "Oh my God," like 7 times throughout the course of the show. We're not even halfway through, dear. You're gonna pace yourself.
Only made it through 2 articles thus far.
Well, speaking of chicks getting knocked up,
did we talk about chicks getting knocked up?
2 chicks in the women's.
Oh yeah, we did. Okay, it was in the last article.
There were actual women involved in this
such
story.
that wasn't even part of our discussion on the article. Anyways,
well, I mean, what were we supposed to discuss?
I don't know.
The inmate knocked up the other inmates.
You decided to go woke and you kept calling the him a her, and so I was thinking
I didn't refer to
her when
I
her
didn't
was
refer to
him.
it with any gender pronouns whatsoever. I referred to it as the person or the inmate the whole time. I used no gender pronouns. That way, I'm not misgendering. I'm also not correctly gendering. I am non-gendering. That's
being journalistic here, guys. We're up in our game.
That's the approach I like to take.
We throw journalists in prison in my upcoming campaign.
I believe I said the transgender person in question at one point. I way overdid it.
Transgender person in question.
Let's say if you want to be some make-believe thing, then I'll just refer to you as the person. You can go be make-believe however you want. Anyway, frustrated young women are trying to get sterilized after overturning Roe. After the overturning of Roe, sorry.
It should be easier for them to do. So this for years it is.
Are they performing
exceedingly difficult for women to do that, and I think that's absurd.
It is completely insane.
What's insane?
The hoops that a woman has to jump through to get a hysterectomy or whatever, like to get sterilized. Like
at boosters at minimum.
Hey, some of us don't want boosters. We just want hysterectomies, okay?
And I guess I get it. It's not like it's a pleasant procedure, but
right, or reversible or what the fuck ever.
Right. I mean, it's that's a one-way ticket, and like I get it, but at the same time, like if a woman decides she doesn't want to have kids and wants to have that done, then why the fuck won't they just let them? That doesn't make any sense. Like as a guy, if you want to get a vasectomy, they're like, oh yeah, do you have insurance? It'll pay you 100%. You don't need like. You pay nothing. You can just go get a vasectomy, Mark, in case you're curious.
I don't know.
Or if you don't have health insurance, come on down here. I'll do it for you.
A lot of these young women, on one hand, I don't want them having children. But if you're like in your early 20s, I don't think a society that normalizes like women that young, like sterilizing themselves.
It doesn't. I'm not saying normalize it. I'm just make it available. I do think they're different things. Because I agree, man. And here's the thing. Because like when you are that young, it is tough. When I went to get my vasectomy, it was very easy from the health insurance standpoint. But I actually did have a little bit harder time of it than a lot of the feminists like to make it out to be. Like a guy can just walk in and here you go, you'll do it. And maybe like if I had a bunch of kids or was in my 40s, that might have been the case. But I was in my late 20s with no kids, and the doctor wasn't very comfortable doing it. And I mean, he did, but he had me do some stuff. He had me take some time. He made some recommendations to me, go talk to these family members, go look into what it takes to, free sperm, et cetera, et cetera. So like, it wasn't quite that simple. I think the doctor was doing what he should have been. He was doing, I think that was good. Good, proper of him, right? Being professional. Just sterilizing a woman who's like 22, I think would be tough. I think that would be tough for a doctor. And I think the concern would be maybe some sort of suit You know, oh, hey, you performed this irreversible thing on me and I wasn't in my right state of mind or whatever, you know? So I think that if there are women that young who want to have it done, I don't know, man, maybe there could be some sort of program they'd have to go, you know, that if I was a doctor, you know, like what would I want to feel comfortable with? Okay, maybe at the least like some sort of program or psychological thing. I don't fucking know. 22 is pretty young, but like I've known women who are in their 30s, you know, or whatever, and doctors won't even talk to them about doing any sort of sterilization or tube tying or what the fuck ever. You know, what's it like me and my wife, like we don't want, always known we didn't want like children, like, you know, like of our own or whatever. My wife definitely, for other medical reasons, she would like to not have a uterus, you know? So like, you know, she's been very for a long time about that. And we've been like, look, man, like if we decide we want kids, we have the option to adopt. And that's even like, as long as we've been together, we said, if we decide we want kids, let's adopt kids, you know, like that's what we wanted to do. So like,
and then you get to pick the kid. You don't even have to take that roll of the dice that you're going to get some little piece of shit, you know?
Right. Especially as well, the more higher class you are, the better of a selection you get. But yeah, you know, basically, you know, so like, but yeah, you know, and when women, if they do decide they don't want them now, but decide they do in the future, adoption's always an option. And hey, man, like one of the things that I say, especially with the whole Roe Wade thing, is like one thing I really think we need is a better fucking adoption system, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Because you know, it is a pain and it is very difficult, and like it should be easier for the whole adoption thing to work, you know, and I think that could help, you know, reduce the number of, you know, like abortions outside of, you know, making them illegal. So like, so yeah, it's just I'm all for this kind of thing being like available, but I totally understand and share Mark's concerns, maybe to a lesser extent, but share Mark's concerns about, you know, like things like that being like quote unquote normalized, you know, because like, yeah, man, it's probably not something that a high percentage of women should go do, you know, like that's probably not indicative of a healthy society, right?
But at the same time, are those the kind of women that we necessarily want reproducing anyway? Just throwing it out there.
Okay, I'm sorry, hold on one second, guys.
No, yeah, I most of these women are crazy. You're right, but
that's the thing is if there's somebody who doesn't want kids, why would you want them to like, you know, like, okay, so this is, and I'm not saying that this is like a pro-life or pro-choice argument. It's not at all. But one of the arguments that always bothered me, and I noticed when I was like a teenager and we were having a law debate in class, and there were people who were like abortion should be illegal, and their reasoning was because if you're responsible enough to have sex, you're responsible enough to have a kid. And it's like, right, but the 15-year-old getting pregnant probably isn't responsible enough to be having sex or having a kid. Like treating it like punishment. I just feel like you should have the kid as like punishment. Like that's like kind of a fucked up way to like look at things, you know? So like I never liked that kind of like fucking attitude. My thing is like, no, dude, if they're that fucking irresponsible, they probably shouldn't. I'm not saying they should. I'm not saying you should go abort kids either. That's not what I'm saying. Calm down, everybody.
Yeah,
but, like,
I mean, once I
just don't like that argument, you know?
Yeah, once the deed is done, it's like, I don't know, if you're in a good family, the family should be like, all right, I mean, sure, we're disappointed, but we're all in on helping you take care of this child.
Right.
I have more than one classmate who had a kid when we were in 8th grade, and they and the kid all, you know, kids all turned out okay.
I've known some who have, and I've known some who have not. I've known people who have never seen their kids, you know.
Justin's like, I would actually trade my own for them.
No. Well, you know what? They'd all be out of the house by now, so maybe.
Right. Yeah, get them done early, man. That's the point. Have your kids when you're 15.
Did you you remember the part in the Puritan section of the book, the Albion Seed book, Dag, where they like send their kids off to live under the roof of another family, and then they take a kid from another family?
Yeah.
Very interesting
I forget
concept.
the term of it. Yeah, but
it was like sending out or something like that. It kind of made sense.
I mean, it is kind of like foreign exchange studenting, you know. Hey, get a different, you know, especially if it's a good family, right? Get raised in a different family and learn some other stuff, I guess, or I don't know. Make you
I wasn't completely opposed.
So Mark gets the 13-year-old boy. Dag and his wife.
I am a single man, okay? You can't send me any 13-year-old boys or girls because that's just wrong.
Well, I'm sending you the boy.
That's too much temptation.
And I live with another man my age.
He's bigger. He's bigger than you anyway, so it's fine. No, nobody will know.
Our neighbors already think we're gay.
Just tell him you adopted.
The other day I walked in the house and he goes, "Do you see what you're wearing?" I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Look at me. We're wearing like the same exact clothes." He's like, "Now they really think we're gay."
Should walk outside holding hands.
In Europe, it's a friendship thing.
Yeah, we already talked about how gay the British are.
Well, speaking of some pretty gay shit. Where's Clyde when we need him?
Yeah, where is Clyde? He always giving me trouble lately about not showing up.
Stacey Abrams had some big fundraiser over the weekend, and she pulled in like $50 million, I think it was, and only $7 million of that actually came from supporters in Georgia. The rest of it came from like the Democratic bigwigs in New York, California, Washington, D.C. Imagine that. So, yeah, I mean, Stacey's raking in all the money from the DNC.
A real grassroots operation going on.
Say the people of Georgia don't seem to care all that much. Well, I mean, that's
like
something.
An invasion.
That's something that I've talked about. I don't know, at least a handful of times, is the fact that, like, when you look at the way campaign funding goes and donors and stuff, like on the right and on the libertarian side of stuff, the fundraising and the money actually comes from the constituents and from like the people in the state who support the candidate. Whereas if you look at the left, like their voting base does not put money towards candidates. Like it all comes from these like big corporate donors and these big political PACs and all this other stuff. Like the Democratic voter just, they don't care. They care about the platitudes and the talking points and the bullshit, but when it comes time to like put your money where your mouth is, they don't show up.
Had William Tecumseh Sherman known that all he had to do was get the bankers to send a whole bunch of money down to Georgia to ruin it, then would have saved him a whole lot of trouble. What was it, the March to the Sea?
Let's not talk about that war criminal.
Yeah. Mark's sitting here. I'm like, is Mark opining over this fucker? What's going on here?
No, I'm just saying he ruined Georgia, but he had to waste a lot of sweat and blood and all that. Like,
if you could build a time machine, would you go back and kill baby Hitler or baby Sherman? I'm just saying.
Or who?
Not baby Sherman. Their parents, because his brother was also the antitrust Sherman antitrust thing. That was his brother. So
Dad got it.
Those fuckers. You got to take out his mom.
Just the whole family. Wipe out the whole family line.
That woman there.
Yep. So we could have stopped 2 tyrants that day.
Anything else? Yeah.
Do we know anywhere particular this shit came from or whatever? Or, I mean, obviously we could take any number of guesses at anybody. All sorts of people who would love to have her be that. What we saw in that picture from Star Trek. Ugh.
$10.2 million came from California, 6.4 from Washington D.C., 3.6 from New York, and 2.5 from Delaware.
I still can't believe that even exists.
Delaware.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem real. What you said about putting their money where their mouth is, that's always the funniest thing to me, because I'll see Democrats or whatever talking about the taxes they pay for PBS. Take my taxes. I have no problem paying for that. It's like, okay, then so you're admitting that we don't need to be taxed for it. Then you would just pay for it, And then the other one is they like to get upset about seeing people putting up healthcare. I broke my arm or whatever, and on GoFundMe, for health issues. They're like, that's ridiculous. The government should be paying for that. Here, take my money to pay for it. It's like, but you can just do it. Like, they have a GoFundMe. Like, you can send them money right now. You don't need the government to tax you to then give them a small fraction of it. Like you can fucking do it. It's happening. And they just don't, it just doesn't click with them. Like the whole actually paying for shit doesn't fucking click with them. But they pretend like it does. They think that it does. But when it's
well, like what it talks about
weird.
here in this paragraph that I'm circling on my screen and realizing I'm not circling it on the screen that y'all are seeing. right there. Brian Kemp, for as unpopular as he supposedly is, he raised $31.5 million, and 83% of that came from Georgia residents. Like that's going back to what I said. Like when it's the right or the libertarian side of things, the money actually comes from the people who support them. Whereas when it's the Democrats, it comes from the PACs and the lobbies and the corporate whatever that have a vested interest in making sure that the right person gets into that role. Because, and by the right person, I mean the worst fucking person humanly possible.
She does seem pretty disgusting.
I wish I had the picture on speed dial of her sitting in the classroom with all the kids with masks on and her not wearing a mask. Like the kids definitely need, I mean, I guess that they got it right. They have the kids wearing masks to protect them from whatever diseases she has.
Honey, I know we don't usually put a mask on you. Stacey Abrams is going to be here today. Go ahead and pop that Spider-Man mask on, all right? Go ahead. Be safe out there, sweetie.
Well, speaking of students, what do I do with that? Go away, ads. I don't want you. Black student educators declare a state of emergency on the de-education of black boys. Now, I actually did an episode on this earlier in the year.
I started trying to read this article, and I don't know. I was trying to read it kind of quickly, but I really didn't get it. What am I missing here? What's going on?
Is this still like the tests are systemically racist kind of thing, or is this a new thing?
No. All right, let me drop the article out, not because I can probably explain it better.
You should start writing for them.
I did research on 2 or 3 different case studies that have been done in Georgia, New York, and I can't remember where the other one was. So especially, I think it was Chicago, maybe. Like especially in like inner city schools and stuff. Black high school boys or high school aged boys are effectively illiterate. Most of them can't read above a 2nd grade level. They can't functionally write. They are getting pushed through and just given passing grades all the way through school to boost graduation rates. So it makes it look like these schools are actually like really doing something and accomplishing something, and they've got these great graduation rates and really low dropout rates, and it's because they're not actually making them do anything. They just pass them all the way through, and then so like more or less there's an entire generation of young black men who are trying to think of what the proper word for it is. They're effectively stupid. Like they have, for as bad as public education is, it's like a million times worse because they're not expected to do anything. Like they're allowed to just run wild, do whatever the fuck they want, not go to class, not actually study, not actually take the tests or pass the tests or anything. And so when they graduate high school, they passed everything with flying colors, but they never did anything. They're ramming them through to boost their graduation rates. Now, black females, on the other hand, currently black women are the highest percentage of college graduates.
Yeah.
So on the other end of it, like they're actually
the highest percentage. You mean like adjusted for?
Yeah, probably proportionally, but it's
okay.
This is why BLM is led by all lesbian black women.
Makes sense.
and it's a really tragic thing. And I actually did another episode where we talked about this sort of stuff, but it actually started in like the 70s and post civil rights, where a lot of government policy really started to remove black, strong black figures from those communities. And it like the whole thing is a big fucking government scheme to make black communities weaker and more susceptible to government influence. Go fucking figure, right? Like the government would never be like overtly racist and try to be actively trying to destroy those communities by removing, strong male influence.
I would say it probably was beginning to happen like right after or right during Reconstruction too, when you had a migration from blacks to like more rural areas to cities. And when you got like people living on top of each other and then just shipping them all to school, like, of course not much learning is going to be happening in those areas.
Right. Okay. So to that point, like it was building back to from Reconstruction up to the Civil Rights era. During Reconstruction, they really did a lot to tear it down, and then like post Depression, going into World War II and leading up to the Civil Rights era, you had a huge like building back of that. You had strong black communities and strong male figures in those communities that were leading. The church was a huge part of those. Family was a big part of those communities. Like, and then you saw all of the most vocal and problematic leaders of the Civil Rights era get removed, and then the government stepped in and started helping and ran the whole thing into the fucking ground.
It's like The Simpsons. I'm helping.
Yeah.
Yeah, Thomas Sowell does a good job of in the book Black Rednecks and White Liberals about how the black community was like on the incline early 1900s leading up to like the 1950s, and then civil rights happened and everything fell apart after that.
Yeah.
Like there were higher divorce rates in white people during that time than in black families, and of course it's not true anymore.
When I was in high school, I I didn't participate much. And like even like starting like ninth grade, I think I had to go to like summer school and shit. But it's funny, especially after hearing this, I look back and I'm like, wow, like I completely like fucked off for a whole year of classes, and I had to go to summer school for like a month. Didn't learn anything in summer school, and then it was like, okay, cool. All that, pushing me on, right? Like the next year, I missed way too much school, skipped way too much school. And it was just like, oh, yeah, we're not even supposed to pass you, but, go to 2 days of after school detention and it's all like forgiven. And it's like, so every step of the way, I completely was not doing what I was supposed to do. And they would have probably graduated me if I had just, got my GED as soon as I turned 18. But like, I probably could have gotten out of doing all the shit that I knew I wasn't going to do, and the reason I wasn't even going to try to graduate, and they probably still would have graduated me, just push me fucking through. But back then, that would have been racist because they wouldn't have done the same thing for a black person. So, they would have failed the black person and graduated the white person. But apparently, the same thing's happening to all of us. It's just public school fucking sucks. It's just been getting really, really bad. I can't imagine how much worse it's gotten since I left.
If we had like better parental involvement, just in every community, right, though, but if you have a kid who just really shows no propensity for book learning, like it'd be such a better system if you're like, all right, you seem to like to do things with your hands, I'm sending you to apprentice under this whatever tradesman, as opposed to like forcing them to sit in school and learn what they're supposed to learn in these public schools, which is nothing.
Yeah, a different type of school or something. Like, there could be other sort of like, I don't know, like schools that are geared more towards like technology and shit. Like when I was 13, I was learning how to build electronics by reading schematics and, resistors and capacitors and assembling and doing all that shit. And I wasn't bad at it, but I didn't really have, I was reading some books of my own, but I didn't have any option for instruction on that kind of thing. But like, fuck, man, I could have gone down a path like that who knows? That could have gotten me actually into math. I could have actually been better at all sorts of other shit. I still don't think me sitting in a desk is a job I'd be good at. But at any rate, like I said, there just could be so many other options, man. There really could be so many other options, so many other ways to do things. And I don't know. I get really emotional with thinking about just public school and just thinking about all the fucking kids that are stuck in it. Like the shit they're going through, the wasted opportunities, the wasted fucking minds, the wasted lives. Like it just fucking sucks, dude. That's like my big thing. Like I would just of all government shit, being able to get rid of Department of Education, or get rid of public school might be my biggest flip the switch, do it today. I don't give a fuck. We'll figure it out because that shit is just so awful.
So what SDG and Trey are talking about with being on the high end in middle school and then being bored in high school. I was really lucky with that. I guess probably because I went to a super tiny school where my graduating class of 50 was literally the biggest graduating class in the school. And I didn't have to deal with that because my teachers just let me do whatever I wanted. We had my honors English class my senior year. I don't know what they talked about at any point during the class. I did my own thing. I read whatever I wanted to, sat in the back, and the teacher left me alone and just let me do whatever I wanted, because whenever it came time for the test, I was gonna set the curve on the test regardless of what it was about, and because I'd already read all of the stuff that they were covering in the class. I would look up from whatever I was reading to fuck with our valedictorian from time to time, because she really was like a midwit that just tested well on everything. But other than that, I would just sit in the back of the class and fuck off and do whatever I wanted, and I would be left alone. And I took a shop class and did welding and machine shop, running mills and lathes and stuff. I never touched a mill or a lathe my senior year. The teacher, we had a blueprinting program for making all the designs for the different stuff that everybody made in class, and I did that. I had my own desk and my own computer and all the programs and stuff, and I just sat there and made all of the blueprints and wrote out all the instructions and did all the designs for everybody else in the class for what they were going to be making. And I had the opportunity going through high school to do whatever I wanted and keep myself amused and occupied, and I still made good grades. So.
Every time I have ever heard someone say that I was lucky or blessed enough to attend a good public school, it's always in a rural community, right?
Well, and all of those
to look at.
All of those teachers have retired now. I'm not sure teachers like that exist anymore. I know by the time my brother graduated 2 years after me, the principal and at least a handful of the teachers that I had retired with our class. When our class graduated, they retired, and it was a completely different school 2 years later when my brother graduated than what I left. I don't think I would have. I don't think I would have done very well if I was still in school there when he graduated. It changed.
My agriculture teacher in middle school, the one class, it was a 6-month class in middle school. I took more away from that class than my all her public school. It was excellent, but she owned a fucking seed company, a middle-sized, pretty decent-sized business, And I'm oh, no wonder she was such a great teacher, She was a fucking private business owner, very successful private business owner who also happened to teach agriculture for whatever blessed reason. It was awesome, though.
I went to a private school where the curriculum was self-learned, self-taught. So there was never there is occasional times where there was a teacher up front teaching, but most of it was you and your books, and you're setting your own goals and your own schedule for the day, and the teacher basically comes around and just checks to make sure you're accomplishing your goals and stuff.
You got to do that? Is that Montessori?
It was similar, but it was more it was it was a private Christian school. It wasn't Catholic or anything, but yeah, I can't remember what the curriculum was called now. ACE,
Oh, that's pretty cool,
Accelerated
man.
Christian Experience or something like that. Yeah.
They let you study things other than like, the Bible, though, right? Like,
No, that's all I learned is the Bible.
So, what book are you working on today? You remember you can work on any book you want.
Proverbs.
The choice is totally up to you.
I really want Song of Solomon. They talk about women's breasts in there.
Oh, I've just been stuck on that one for days. Oh shit.
Well, go ahead.
But I mean, not everyone did well in that system either. Like I did well with it, but it's not great for things like math.
Right.
Mathematically
I recognize that. As much as I talk shit about like classroom style, like there are some people who thrive in that. So that's why I just like choice. And I did say like about like my school experience, everything being awful, but I should say I had a couple teachers here and there who were really cool, or were really passionate, or really helpful, or did actually help me learn. Typically my favorite teachers were the ones who just let me get away with anything because that's what I wanted to do. But yeah, I mean, there were a few, and it was, what have you. But I had a couple cool teachers who were. We had a long-term substitute one year because other teachers kept getting run out because it was such a terrible class, and they just brought in this dude who was like ex-military, and now I realize he was like, semi-libertarianish, like he was like, yeah, legalize all drugs, just don't make me pay for your fucking healthcare. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
That guy had the biggest influence on Dag of any teacher.
Dag's like this.
We took what's the book that's like about like drugs and overdoses, whatever, like it's the big like the pharmaceutical manual. We went through that and calculated how much weed you'd have to smoke to kill you as a class. So that was kind of cool.
School project.
Practical math that you can use in real life application.
Yep. So yeah. So there were a couple gems.
I was pretty lucky in college too. My speaking of like practical math that you can use in real, I had it was like a field applications was the name of the class, but it was like entry level math with practical application to agriculture. So like you figured out how much like how to mix your chemicals properly, or how much seeds you would need per acre for if you were planting it this at a certain shit. Anyway, it was all like 8th grade math with practical applications for ag use, and I had a like upper level statistics class that I basically slept through and set the curve, and I pissed off my advisor because I had been setting the curve through the entire semester, and about 2/3 of the way through I decided I didn't want to put forth the effort anymore, and figured out what I needed to do on the rest of the exams and homework assignments through the rest of the semester, and to make a B, and that was all I did. And so he got really pissed off at me. He was like, you literally taught half the class how to do the work and set the curve on every exam, so why'd you make a B? I was like, I don't know, I just didn't feel like doing any more than that. He's like, don't ever do that in one of my classes again. I expect more of you than that. It's like, okay, cool. Like I never had somebody call me out like that. So anyway, I had this like field apps class, and I went to him after the first class, and I was like, dude, you've got to get me out of this. Like, I can't be in field apps. I'm going to flunk just because I'm going to be so fucking bored. He said, oh, I didn't think about that. He's like, yeah, drop it right now. Like, leave here and go drop it. We'll get you in something else. Like, he subbed in a different class that would actually be engaging for me, and like not force me to suffer through a semester of being bored to tears and not wanting to do the work.
Nice.
I have been very fortunate I went to Murray. Murray State is in BFE, Kentucky. So, whatever you do it rurally. Like, get out.
Are they known for something? Are they like an ag school or what?
They have a really good ag program. I don't know that Murray's necessarily known for anything in particular. Yeah. But we do have they have a very large university farm, big greenhouse, and a big, they do a lot of stuff with the local agricultural community. after the big barley buyout, where tobacco was no longer going to have government subsidies, and so it was going on like a cash crop type of a pricing basis, and it was still going to be profitable, but there were some farms that relied on the subsidy side of it to be profitable, depending on the size and stuff. So they started looking at alternatives like pumpkins and different vegetables and stuff like that. And so we did a lot of like trial plots and stuff out on the university farm to show farmers like this is how we go about like industrial agriculture style planting these things so that you can make a profitable crop out of it. And it was really cool. I got to do that a couple summers of planting pumpkins and squash and different types of crops and doing that whole thing. So I mean, it was cool.
And you didn't come out a retard. Oh, see, I was trying to give you time.
Well, I really wanted to talk about the 13 microaggressions.
Oh, we can talk about the 13 microaggressions if you want.
Can we cover 13 microaggressions in 10 minutes?
Sure.
All right, let's do it.
If Trey and Leighton and
they don't have anything else to do, it's fucking Monday.
Steve was in here. I think we exasperated Steve with our talk of transgender inmates.
All right, so here we go. 13 microaggressions black people deal with all the time. Let's see if we were aware of any of these, because we have our white privilege, so I'm sure didn't even know any of these existed.
Yeah, we probably do them every day.
Number 1, when an airport gate agent questions why you're in line for business class.
You know what? They're not doing that just to black people. I walk into business class looking like this. They're going to ask me too.
Number 2, when someone tells you you're so pretty, they don't even think of you as black. Does that actually happen?
Yeah, like how many people have actually experienced this before?
Can we get a poll?
You know what? I also experienced this. I don't even think of you as a redhead.
Do you get that regularly?
I probably get it from someone like you.
We won't go there. When people assume you got into a college because of an athletic scholarship, is that not accurate, though?
Look, the reverse of this happens, too, because a white dude says, yeah, I'm on an athletic scholarship. People go, really? So
when you're 6'5", it's not as surprising.
Yeah, you're 5'9", like me.
Yeah, nobody's expecting the 5'9" white dude to be there on a
defensive end.
Or they'll start calling you Wes Welker.
Rudy.
When a retail employee follows you around the store because they assume you're going to shoplift. Or when a retail worker immediately directs you to the sales rack. Oh, you're looking for the clearance. That's my wife. She makes a beeline for the clearance rack every time.
Why not?
Just checking to see if you're still in there, dear.
Smart woman.
Mark says you're a smart woman.
Obviously.
When people,
she did marry you, so I don't know how smart, but
incredibly smart. That's like the best decision of her life. Now this one is, even I know, I mean, everybody should know this is like total faux pas. When people ask to touch your hair or just do it without your permission. All right. Especially a black woman. Never, ever, ever, ever touch a black woman's hair unless you just don't value that hand.
I don't get. This is the part of the show where Justin's wife chimes in. We're not sure what she's saying.
Nadia is mixed, and so she has this, from time to time, she has this giant afro puff whenever we let her, throw her hair out. And like people just will walk up and touch it or ask to touch it. It's like, no, you don't.
It's like knocking a man's hat off. Like, it's the ultimate form of disrespect.
Yes. Leighton's a Jew, so hit clearance rack and touching the hair or off limits. He didn't get the nose, but when they make you feel invisible, that's like every man goes through that on a constant basis.
When they make you feel invisible.
I mean, Mark is a ginger. He's practically invisible as it is.
Yeah, I don't exist in most people's worlds, which is fine by me, actually.
When they say you have that good hair because it's not nappy. See, I'm sure Leighton gets this too, or at least Leighton's people.
Who is Leighton's people?
The Jews.
Like an Alaskan Jew, like the most rare breed around, it seems like.
He's related to I don't know, some famous Jew that's been in Hollywood. Leighton's are
really
fed. All right, let's see. What's the next one? When they tell you your hair isn't professional. Now, look, I grew my hair out for 3.5 years. I got that plenty. I don't want to hear that shit either.
Yeah,
This one too, number 10. When people marvel at how well spoken you are, fucking redneck. Once again, yeah, Gilda Radner, that Jew. That's who Leighton's related to.
Sounds familiar, but I can't put a face on the name here.
That's probably for the best. So, oh, there we go. When a white person tells you they don't see color, but I'm literally colorblind.
When that was like the most prevalent, I guess, I don't know what to call it, just the view towards race, that was actually probably the least racist this country has been. The colorblind, period.
When was that?
Like, I don't know. I would say like 80s and 90s, right?
Yeah, I think that's right. That's when Michael Jackson made a song about it.
Did he?
Yeah. When they expect you to be a spokesperson for your entire race. Let's see, that's kind of condescending too, because anytime a white person says something that they don't like, or that somebody doesn't like, then immediately you are now a spokesperson for your entire race.
I would like to be the spokesperson for all gingers. You'd be like, we don't all like mess with crazy AOC, okay? We're not all nuts like that guy.
Are you sure? Because like that dude might be your clone.
I am in no way related to AOC's husband, boyfriend, whatever he is to her.
Fiance. I upgraded. Okay. When they address your white partner instead of you.
Yeah, there's a lot into this one.
Are you guilty of this?
No, I don't know. I'm confused by it. It's a lot of nuance here.
And by white partner, do they mean like an interracial relationship or like business partner or what's going on? And it's not really specified here.
If I go up to AOC, who is a proud person of color, and her white partner, then I'm going to address them and I'll be like, what is wrong with you, dude?
All right, so I wonder. No, we're not getting into it.
We talked about adoption earlier today and microaggressions and racism and all that stuff. My brother and his wife adopted a Thai son, right? And so she's in a group on Facebook of like parents of Thai children. And she was just telling me this last night that someone asked in there, like, how can you make like the seasoning stuff without so much MSG? And another person commented with, it is systemically racist to try to remove MSG from your Asian child's food because that is the food that they're used to. So apparently, I thought MSG was more of an like Americanized Asian food thing, but it is systemically racist. to not feed your child MSG. People are retards.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.